Welcome to Deadlines and Detours, the podcast where we cut through the chaos of digital transformation with real stories and real people. I'm Matt. Let's dive in. In today's episode, I'm joined by Jamie Hughes, the founder of Inncreate. We discuss why LinkedIn personal branding beats company pages, what we can learn from Blockbuster and BlackBerry about ignoring digital change, and how to push through the dreaded project slump. And yes, we can even talk about climbing the cringe mountain. There wouldn't be any podcast today without discussing AI. So that's enough from me. Let's dive in.
I did my teeth whitening yesterday.
Yeah.
Well, I say, first of all, are you calling me cringer?
Okay, good. Apologies for that. Where were we? What was I talking about? I sort of lost the train of thought around sort of...
It's from the top.
How you feeling? You ready?
Ready, as I'll ever be. And then
Let's see if I actually know you. So, Jamie is the founder of Inncreate, a business focused on marketing and communications and personal branding for small and medium-sized businesses, especially in tech and manufacturing. With a career spanning marketing transformation, Jamie has helped organizations unlock creativity and turn bold ideas into outcomes. She blends strategy with hands-on delivery, cutting through the jargon and helping teams actually use the tools they invest in to maximize their profit and effectiveness. Today, we've got Jamie. Welcome, Jamie.
Hi.
Good to see you. It's very strange introducing someone that you've known for years and all of this. It's a very bizarre thing.
How long's it been?
I read through all of that and I think, oh, okay, actually, these are all the things that you've done for me over the years as well. So, so for anyone who doesn't know, myself and Jamie have worked on multiple projects over the years, and that was really one of the main reasons I wanted to get her in today, because without Jamie, we wouldn't be here doing the podcast today. But that will all come into light as we talk. So how are you anyway? Things good?
I'm good. Thanks for the introduction.
No, I know. It sounded really good, didn't it?
It was great.
We both know what we're talking about. So gosh, let's see. So I've got a series of questions here. We'll run down through them, but it's all very relaxed, as we said. And like I say, let's just see where it goes. Deadlines and Detours is called that for a reason. So, question one, let's dig in. Your work's all about marketing innovation, but if someone was to ask you at a party, what do you do? How would you actually explain that?
Well, I do answer saying I'm a marketing freelancer and contractor, and people tend to assume that I'm a social media manager or that I design websites, so that's great.
Yeah.
But it depends on the client, really. Sometimes I'm doing strategy and communications. Sometimes it's just copywriting or ghostwriting, personal branding. I tend to work with businesses who have limited budget, or they have very small or don't have marketing teams at all. So I just try and help them make the most of what they've got and help them make the most of the budget they've got.
Yeah. When you say that you do run a marketing business, what's the weirdest reaction that you get?
I wouldn't say I have weird reactions. I think people assume that I wouldn't do something like this, but I tend to get a lot of people asking if I can design them a website after. And I'm like, well, no, but I can point you in the direction of someone who can, and I can help you manage the project, but I definitely can't design your website. I can barely design my own.
Yeah, gosh, yeah. So many times I've had that, and sometimes I mainly just say, yeah, work in tech. Yeah, websites, websites and social media, those things, all of that.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you work in marketing, people assume that you do everything within marketing. So, they to know how to do everything like Google Ads, website design, graphic design. So yeah. But I don't really have any weird reactions, but that tends to be the one. I've had that a few times. Oh, can you build me a website then? Probably not.
I mean, it's good that we're getting to a stage now, though, where people actually know what marketing is. I remember when I started out marketing, it was 10, 15 years ago, I think I was referred to as the king of Crayola, because basically people just thought I took some colored pictures and put them out there, and that was marketing. So at least we're getting to a stage now where people know what marketing is, and maybe they do a bit of website stuff, and maybe they do a bit of social media as well, and they've probably seen all those things.
Social media girl I get sometimes.
Social media girl, yeah. How much that makes you feel through Yeah, yeah, definitely. I guess moving through into kind of social media and kind of things like LinkedIn and stuff, with the advent of everything that's happening at the moment, and I'm sure we'll say AI a number of times throughout this podcast. I guess, you know, where do you see social media, mainly LinkedIn, heading in the next sort of 12 months?
So for a start, I think we've seen a lot more people posting on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Back when I first started posting, probably about 2 years ago now, the only people you'd really see posting were like social media managers, marketers. But now we're seeing a lot more CEOs, directors, project managers posting on a regular basis about their own niche. Unfortunately, I think that means it's going to be a lot more difficult to stand out from the crowd. For that reason, and of course, because AI is making it a lot easier for people to create quick content, so there's a lot more content on there. Um, but yeah, when I first started, I think it was like 1% of users posted once a week. And while that number's not gone up a lot, you can just see by
Oh yeah.
looking on LinkedIn that there's so many other people posting. Because when I'm scrolling, used to see, like, the same creators all the time, and now I kind of have to go searching for their content. So I think that's gonna be a case. I think more and more people are gonna be posting on LinkedIn, which is good.
Yeah, yeah, it is. And what I'm seeing there as well is I'm seeing people who wouldn't have engaged before. So maybe they're not posting as much, but they're definitely engaging more. So people
Mhm.
who you look down through and you think, gosh, these people definitely wouldn't have engaged on LinkedIn. The
Yeah,
odd post here, the odd comment, the odd like of a thing or a share, just people that you just definitely wouldn't have had happening sort of 10 years ago, 2 years ago, 1 year ago, either. So with AI, and you touched on it, and I'm sure everyone top of everyone's mind. Do you think that is helping creativity or killing originality? What are your thoughts around the use of AI and how beneficial it actually is for sort of that real marketing, the almost that personal brand? How do you think that helps?
well, I'm in 2 minds, to be honest. I think on one sense, it's incredible for
Mm,
creativity and it's great for brainstorming, it's great for formatting, but on the other side, it's killing creativity because even when you're brainstorming on LinkedIn, um, say if you type into ChatGPT, "Can you brainstorm me ideas on this topic?"
mm.
It's gonna give you the exact same ideas that it's give to someone else who's asked it the same question.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So then when they're getting ChatGPT to write their content too, it's even if you say, like, "Write this in my tone," it's writing it in a similar tone to other people, and you can tell, and you can see it's very easy for me to see, who's used ChatGPT to write their content because all you have to do is look at the way they've formatted it. I can't remember the name of that line, you know, that line that people use that's extremely long, and people use it when they're writing a book, but no one ever used to use that line before, and now, like, that is
What line is
everywhere.
that? Which line is that? When they write a book? What, the sort of the prologue? The
What's it called? You know that long line that on your keyboard? You know, on your keyboard, you've got, like, the little dash, and then you've
uh,
got
yeah, yeah, like a hyphen, the hyphen.
yeah, that's the word
Yeah,
I was
yeah, 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 yeah. So, when you said long line, I thought I thought you meant like eloquently. I thought we were actually writing something. No, the
line.
long line. I would say it's a short line, but we'll call it a hyphen.
Yeah, okay, so more people use that now, and the reason they use that is because ChatGPT uses it. I never saw anyone using that before, and now
No,
I see it all the time.
and I guess as well the use of emojis, right? I see so
Yeah,
many
there's certain
emojis in
emojis that
stuff.
ChatGPT loves. There's certain words that ChatGPT loves as well. And the more you scroll and the more you read and the more you use ChatGPT as well, the easier it is to see whose posts have been written, whose have been just ChatGPT'd. But also, a lot of people are using them to write their comments, and it's
Right.
the comments are
Okay.
terrible.
That's awful. Yeah, yeah. I mean, like when we started, working together on things, and you sort of advising me on sort of LinkedIn content, that if I go back now and look sort of 12 months, 18 months ago of some of the things that I did, gosh, yeah, almost copy and paste from that initial thought and idea. And I've always tried to be a bit different and not like the same, but what you touched on there originally, and I hadn't even thought about it till you've just mentioned it now, is that, yeah, if I write a prompt now saying I want to say X about X, and you say I want to write X about X, chances are we're going to get a similar thing. So then that really does kill any individuality of who I am or what I do. And then I guess the problem is it's fine, and you probably get some good content for the first version, but the second version, the third version, is even less like me and even less like me because it's someone else's prompt and it's someone else's thing.
Yeah.
I've never really even sort of thought about that. So that's really interesting, actually. And yeah, I totally know what you mean about some of the comments. I see them on mine. You know, I got some really amazing engagement from people and some really insightful things. And then I've also got the people who have clearly just gone, read this text, give them an answer because I want to push my algorithm up and stuff. But I wonder if LinkedIn starts to see that, starts to read this. It must, right? Because otherwise it's just going to be computers writing content for computers to write and comment on the computers, right? And actually all the people, no one's actually looking at the content at all.
This is it. So I think what we're seeing at the minute is this AI generated content being pushed quite a bit on LinkedIn because LinkedIn likes that type of formatting.
Yeah.
But I think over the next year or so, I think that content's actually not going to be pushed as much because I think LinkedIn is going to start seeing that people prefer seeing content that's written by people. And we like individual because when everyone's writing the same stuff, it just gets boring, and people are less likely to go on there and engage. People who aren't just on there to grab a platform, and people who are just on there genuinely to read content. No one wants to read the same post over and over again. But
No, and I think we saw this back in the early days of the web. So I remember. God, I remember when I first started making websites, and you'd almost make a blank page just full of keywords,
yeah,
like invisible white text on white page keywords, and then Google just sees this. So I guess we're in the early hack of the kind of social media, and it's working. But whether it's today, whether it's tomorrow, the guys at all of the social media platforms are going to be looking at this and demo, pushing down that content that's clearly AI driven.
yeah,
I guess the other thing that's not AI, well, maybe there is some AI, is the use of video content on LinkedIn. I've started to see more of that. Do you think that's something that we're going to see more of? Is it moving to more of a social media in that respect, that it's going to be timelines and things like that, or what?
yeah. So I've been obviously a lot of people are saying LinkedIn's turned into the new Facebook
Yes.
because more people are sharing personal stories and stuff on there, and it's less of a professional platform. I think they're trying to make it more Instagrammer, where you've got like so you've got your text post, but also you've got video content. I'm not too sure how many people actually watch video content on LinkedIn. Now, I love the podcast LinkedIn posts where you've got the video clips of podcasts and those types of videos where you're actually getting something from it. I don't think we're going to see. I think people have tried to do it, but I don't think we're going to see like the day in your life sort of content and the sort of content that you'd see on TikTok. I don't think that's coming. I think it's going to be more like video content, but more informational based, professional, more entertaining sort of video content, if that makes sense. But it has been pushed a lot over the past couple of years, and I've dabbled in it a little bit, posted the odd video, and I have found that the video content tends to get way more impressions, way more engagement than text posts. I just personally prefer text posts on LinkedIn, and that's why I tend to stick with them because sometimes it is better to stick with what you like. Whether I'll have to change that strategy over the next few years is a different story, because we are definitely seeing a rise in video content.
Yeah, definitely. And look, I'm sure as heck we're gonna cut some of this up, and some of this will be shared on LinkedIn. So maybe we can come back
Yeah.
and do a bit of a deep dive into what what was the engagement of this content across it. But yeah, I think you're right. I'm just thinking anecdotally, when I look at LinkedIn, I think I read stories more on it than I
Mhm.
do. I mean, like your Stephen Bartlett's and stuff, when they cut down maybe like a 15-minute little
Mhm.
chat, I'd probably watch that and some of the key players. But yeah, I certainly probably wouldn't watch the walk into work with the coffee telling me about an inspirational quote sort of video. That's
Yeah.
probably not what I'm
That's
there for.
TikTok only.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that's where that's Instagram and TikTok. And maybe those platforms are where it's at, and maybe that's where people do business in the future. But yeah, who
Yeah.
who knows? Or maybe it's something that we don't even know about, and it's the next LinkedIn, and we're all trying to sort of solve a problem within LinkedIn that actually, it's X. Not X. It's Z in a few weeks' time.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, thank you. That's really interesting. Definitely something I'm always thinking about around the kind of advent of new tech and where that social will go. So you've worked across transformation, digital innovation projects. What's the most surprising or thing that stands out about how businesses actually deal with change, accept change, or kind of work within that change space?
So I think something I've learned, and something that's not great in transformation and projects, is that teams always tend to isolate themselves a little bit, especially like development teams. Obviously, they're really smart. They like to just get on with things. But when you're not communicating with the rest of with other departments, so with like the marketing and sales team, you don't really know what the customers actually need. So, for example, I worked for a business a long time ago that were doing a digital transformation project. And during that time, oh, so I worked for a business a while ago who did a digital transformation, and there the development team tended to lead the project rather than work with the other teams. So they kind of made changes and brought in tech that they thought would make a change and they thought was needed. But when it actually come down to it, some of the major issues were that some of the customers couldn't use certain platforms and couldn't use certain software because
Mm.
the technology was getting in the way. There was issues with the site. Um, so there was that, and there was no, yeah, it, they ended up with like a really nice website, which is great,
Yeah.
but then they were still having the same issues that they were having like a year previously with their software. So I think, yeah, teams tend to isolate themselves a little bit, and I think it can cause friction as well between teams, which isn't great.
Yeah, hugely. Again, as I've seen this, I think pretty much on every project, and it's not always just development. It might be the sales team, it might be the marketing, or it might be the finance team. But generally, when you get a team that have got this idea, and they've either bought a new piece of software or they've got a new way that they're going to deliver stuff. They sometimes get caught up in their own space, and then forget that actually businesses are multifaceted, and actually to get it's rare that let's pick development because it's the easiest straightforward one. That the development team, we've got a new sexy piece of software, a new thing that's going to change everything. But how is it? And is it actually going to affect the bottom line for sales? Is it actually going to help marketing? Or is it just something that is new, it's hot, and we want to get in? Rarely does those new hot ideas we need to get in actually have any business benefit. So I think sometimes we what we need to do is actually ask the question, go to the top level and say, what do we actually want to achieve? What is happening in the business? Are we losing market share? Is this happening? Is that happening? And if that product is right, then we do it and we move forward with it. But sometimes we need to sort of look at how we actually communicate that through. And then I think that's where sort of digital transformation and having sort of the stakeholder buy-in is so important, to actually get the leadership team to actually buy in. Because once the leadership team's in, then they can get their mandate to run across the business and then buy in. But you're absolutely right. It's very, very, very common for a product to be thought of as, this is going to save us all, but actually has no business benefit at all. And
Yeah.
that's where friction arises. Yeah, so I think you need to get buy-in from the top down. If you get that mandate in, and you can get the exec team to say, yeah, this is a program of work that we want to do, then you can have someone in the middle, normally a transformation consultant, or normally, one of the key players that maybe aren't necessarily out of the pot of sales, marketing, development, someone that sits over it, who can then have no sort of attachment to the other projects, and say, look, this is what we're trying to achieve, and then maybe be the translator for development into sales, or the sales and marketing back into development and things. I think that's often lost, and that's often where you get a lot of friction.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so anyway.
Yeah, I agree. And I think it's easier coming from them that it needs to be about the customer and, the processes, rather than whatever you're bringing in and whatever you're doing. It's not about how
Yeah,
the website looks. It's about, is the website actually going to be beneficial for the customer? Is that the main issue we've got going on here?
yeah, and rarely does a new website actually solve anything. A new website's great, looks brilliant, well done. We've got ourselves a new website, and we can tell everyone, but rarely does that actually do anything other than, a nice front end. Normally the problems with the customers is maybe that I can't bill quick enough, I can't get the sales out quick enough, I can't entice people in, and normally those processes behind are actually what we need to actually look at first. And I guess that kind of rolls into my next sort of thought around this as well, is around, a lot of leaders think transformation is about tech or processes. You see it as a bit broader. What role do people play in innovation success?
I think it's one of the most important things, to be honest,
Mm,
because at the end of the day, it's the people that are going to be using it.
mm,
It's the people that are going to be using it, and it's supposed to be benefiting the customer. And if it's not doing neither, then it's a waste of time, and it's a waste of money as well.
mm.
Um, so an example of this is back when I worked for another business, they brought in a CRM system, which was great because
Yeah,
it was at a time when we were all using spreadsheets. So it was
love
really
that.
back in the
Love
day.
that.
So they brought in this new CRM system. Um, and I think we were trained on it, but not properly. So then for the whole time that I was working with them, the CRM barely got used. I think it only got used by a couple of people within the business, and they spent so much money on it. And I think it was so much money anyway, from what I can remember. I can imagine it was. And they spent a lot of time um, bringing bringing in this software, and the end result was no one really used it, and everyone kind of continued making their own little spreadsheets. So I think,
Yeah,
yeah, they probably spent thousands, and the system was basically wasted.
I've seen it so many times. I'm just trying to think of a project that I have been involved in where that didn't happen at some point in a
Mm.
company's history. I think if you speak to any company owner and say, has every IT project, every CRM product, everything gone in, and everyone used it? I think it'd be fair to say, and I will look at some stats of this, but I think it'd be fair to say, I reckon 50% of projects like this tend to go awry. It's rarely the product's fault. The product's normally good. And then quite often the product that they already have is actually good. It's processes. It's the way that
Mhm.
people use things. It's adoption. It's buy-in. It's having someone, remember doing some work with IBM once upon a time, and they had these sort of idea of this champions kind of network. And yeah, okay, it's a bit sort of twee now, but actually what it really meant was having someone in the business who went around and kept keeping people updated with how it's going to happen, how it's going to sort of benefit them, getting people to actually use the product. Because I've seen people spend thousands, millions of pounds on putting in big innovation projects, and then day one, 3 people in accounts use it, and everyone else decides to go back and, like, say, use their spreadsheets
Yeah.
or do it. And it really is just such a killer for creativity, and it's a killer for a business to put all of that time in. And I think then what it also does, it puts a bad name on sort of tech delivery and those sort of projects. Normally IT gets blamed because of no one's using it.
Yeah.
Rarely is it anyone else's fault in the eyes of the business. And then I think it stunts innovation, because then I think people are more resistant to do it again, because, oh, don't forget, we spent £100,000 on that last CRM and no one used it.
Mhm.
So I think actually getting the buy-in, the adoption, and someone in the business just sort of going, guys, this is coming, we're using it. And it's marketing, right? It's internal marketing. It's that thing
Yeah.
again to remind people that actually.
Yeah, it is all about internal communications really when it comes to stuff like that, because people think that they can give a PowerPoint presentation on a Tuesday afternoon when everyone's knackered and everyone's just going to remember how to use it and just continue using it. You've got to
Yeah.
keep reminding people, and you've got to keep, and people learn in different ways as well.
Mm.
So, some people learn while they're playing around with some, like, the
Yeah.
where some people need to be told. Some,
Yeah.
some people, maybe they need like a document that they can go back and forth on to make sure they're using it correctly. So it's about taking people's learning styles into consideration. And like you say as well, having someone there
Yeah.
who knows what they're doing with the tech and who's going to be reminding people to use it. People are stuck in their ways.
Yeah, they absolutely are. And I think this just again reminds everyone about sort of, you know, we talk here about marketing really, and the sort of technical side of things today, but you're here in that space where you've sat there, and you've had to try and remarket it back into the business for it to be used, and different things. And how do you make sure that sort of tools don't get just turned into dust and they're just sort of gathering dust? What do you sort of do to make sure that when a product gets put in, we've got the front end customer? What can you do, and what sort of ideas have you got for internal users?
Um, so I'd say that, like we were saying earlier, you need to get the leadership team involved,
Mm.
because if the leadership team are involved, more people are likely to. If the leadership team aren't using it
Yeah.
and they're not actively involved in the product or project or whatever you're doing, then other people in the workplace aren't going to be, because they're
Mm.
going to think, well, they're not using it, so why do I have to use it?
Why would I? Yeah,
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 yeah. And then obviously having training people properly on how to use it, having different ways to train people as well. And yeah, just keep reminding people of what the goal is and how it's actually going to make things easier in the long run. Because I think when you start using a new product or using a new piece of software, your initial thoughts are, oh, it's going to take ages to learn how to
yeah.
use this. It's just another thing to do. Like, why am I adding more onto my to-do list? But once you actually know how to use it, usually these pieces of software are designed to save time. So the more you use it, then likely the more time you're going to save in the long run, the easier it's going to be to manage projects. So it's reminding people of the goal of why it's here as well. Yeah. So that's what I'd say.
Yeah, no, agree. Yeah, definitely. Um, okay, so here's a little bit more of a tricky one for you. How do you convince a skeptical stakeholder who rolls their eyes at digital adoption? They hate it. God, not another one. Whether it's digital marketing, LinkedIn, new tools, how do you convince someone that, okay, you need to use this? This is important to your business.
Well, I'd ask them if they still want to be in business in 5 years' time.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You're not too big and brilliant to avoid digital transformation and social media. The world's changing quickly. It has changed very quickly over the past 5 years. if you think of businesses like Blockbuster, you know, everyone went there on a Friday night, they'd get their popcorn, they'd get their DVD, and that was in a lot of people's routines. And I used to love Blockbuster, absolutely loved it, but they ignored digital transformation and died. And it sounds a little bit morbid, but they went out of business because they failed to adapt quickly enough to changing customer expectations. And then digital streaming took over, and that's when we saw Netflix and wow,
Disney.
Amazon Prime, Disney Plus, you know, they're all here now. And they were a massive business, so
I know,
everyone
I
knew
know.
about Blockbusters.
It's mad. I mean, you know, they did give us all the amazing blockbuster memes, so you know,
They did,
the world's
yes,
best
they
for the
did.
blockbuster meme. I mean, I live in.
God bless their imprint.
I grew up in the West Country. We didn't really have Blockbuster here. We had like really bad, you know, mum and dad video stores. But the thought's the same. I mean, I think they probably would have died anyway. But yeah, absolutely. I mean, I kind of miss the thing that I never got to go and do the whole Blockbuster. I think we got one right at the end, just before they were going. I think they were thinking, right, we're
No.
dying here. Let's chuck one down the West Country. See if it's like, you know, we just got electricity at the time, I think. Yeah. Any other kind of big companies sort of that you sort of seen that didn't innovate that kind of went the way of the blockbuster, the
Wow,
blockbuster.
there's loads, to be fair, but if we look at one of the most popular devices that we use, the mobile phone, if we look at BlackBerry, for
Yeah.
instance, we have a BlackBerry now, nowhere to be seen
I know.
because
Clicky button, clicky button. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, I watched that BlackBerry movie around how they just died against Apple. I mean, I don't know how much of it's true, but it's absolutely fascinating to think you are
yeah,
the king of everything. Nothing can touch you, and then all of a sudden, a company that has no right to go out into the phone business. Absolutely. I mean, you know, God, everything that we do now, the iPhone is everything, isn't it?
I
It is.
know. I mean, I'll get a phone call and my whole room starts ringing because of Apple. Yeah, but you know, BlackBerry held on too long to its keyboard and it wasn't willing to let go. And it wasn't, you know, it didn't act fast enough when the iPhone started adapting, and
Yeah,
then ultimately Apple and Android phones, because we can't ignore Android phones either because, you know, some people still use
yeah,
those.
yeah.
I'm an iPhone girl, I must say, but yeah, BlackBerry did the same as well, but there's loads of businesses that, were really big once, and because they've failed to
Yeah.
change, they're
And
nowhere to be seen.
then I guess so in your space, sort of innovation is around, I guess, getting people to open up and be more active online and stuff. And
Mhm.
what what's your response to someone when they go, "Oh my God, no, I can't possibly post on LinkedIn. It's so cringy. Please don't make me talk online." What do you say when they say that?
Well, I say, first of all, are you calling me cringer?
But I wouldn't say that to you. I definitely wouldn't say.
Well, so a lot of people who would want to post on LinkedIn
Yeah.
tend to have company pages as well, or work for businesses that have company pages. Company pages are a little bit dead on LinkedIn. So I think some of the stats I saw recently was so I think it was in 2023, 7% of a company page's followers would see their post when scrolling. Yeah, do you wanna have a guess at what it is today in
Oh, God.
2025?
So what was it before? 73%,
No, 7%.
7%.
7% of their followers would see their post when
Okay.
scrolling on a company page. Guess what it is now?
I'm gonna double it. 14%.
1.2.
No, it's gone down.
It's gone down.
Right.
LinkedIn isn't pushing company page content
Right.
anymore.
Okay.
Favors personal pages. Personal posts get like 2.5, 2.7% more reach than company pages.
Right.
So, you know, if you want, you know, if you want to grow your business, grow your brand, you, so you're telling me you're willing to create a company page and talk on there rather
Yeah.
than just posting on your personal page. And I'm not saying that company pages are dead and you shouldn't have a company page. That's not what I'm saying at all. I think
No.
they are really useful to have, but
Mm.
you can't expect the same results from a company page that you would get from your personal page.
You just can't have the same conversation, can you? I guess it goes back to what we talked about earlier around kind of the website. We've got the website now. Well, the websites are good and they're useful and they're great for sort
Mhm.
of information and some sort of core information, but you wouldn't have that normal blog style chat on that website. And I guess that's what a company page on LinkedIn becomes. It becomes a really
Yeah.
useful tool to post events and different things like that, but you're not going to have that kind of narrative.
No, it's where somebody goes when they've already heard about you and they wanna have a deeper dive into what you do. Your
Yeah.
personal page is what's gonna build trust with your audience. You know, every psychology study that we see says faces build trust, and that's why a lot of people post selfies on LinkedIn. So I know people think it's so
Euros.
cringy, and you've told me before that you don't wanna post your face on LinkedIn, but people are more likely to stop scrolling when they see a face, and they're more like automatically you trust people's faces more than you would trust a graphic or and that's why video content does really well as well, because
Mm,
you see
mm.
someone's face straight away and
Yeah.
you see them like a real human, and I think with everything that's going on with AI at the minute, people want to see who's actually behind the brand, and personal pages allow you to do that, and you
Yes.
don't have to be cringy, you don't have to sit there and post inspirational quotes all day.
No, no, I don't think I've ever posted an inspirational quote. Some thoughtful insight and stuff. But I've definitely
Yeah.
noticed that the pages and the posts that have taken way more traction is always around something that went wrong, some sort of idea, some actual insight, and something that maybe makes you feel more human and makes people go, oh, okay, yeah, no, that's God, that happened to me before as well. Which is kind of why this whole podcast was kind of set up initially, so we could have normal conversations, these type of conversations that actually says, not everything's perfect, not everything goes the way it should do,
Mhm.
and we should move forward. Which brings us nicely on to the next question. The podcast is called Deadlines and Detours. So, with that in mind, what is the biggest detour in a project that you've ever worked on? Whether that's the unexpected or curveball or whatever, but yeah, bit of a detour for you and questions there.
For me, something that tends to happen just it hasn't just happened once, but happens all the time, is people get really excited at the start and then
Yes,
they lose interest. And I
story of
think
my life.
you
Yeah,
literally story of my life too. People get a burst of excitement when talking about the goals. And I think that if we go back to psychology again, it's because people get excited when they talk about a goal because their brain thinks they've already achieved it and all that sort of stuff. But they get a burst of excitement, and then when it actually comes down to doing the work, which isn't as nice, which isn't as sexy, they tend to lose interest a little bit and they
mm,
prioritize the tasks, which is fine because people are busy. But unfortunately, if you don't put the hours in and do the boring bits of transformation and projects, then you're never going to achieve the goal. The brainstorming sessions always go great. Everyone's got an idea, everyone wants to do something. And then sometimes that also leads to people trying to do too much at once.
mm,
And they've got too many ideas and they want to do everything at once. And then when it actually comes down to it, they haven't got the time or the resource to
no.
actually achieve it. So I think that for me, they're the biggest detours.
Yeah, definitely. And look, I see this myself, and whether it's rightly or wrongly, every project that I ever work on, I know that there's going to be the slump. I know that other projects are going to come in, and there's other things that are going to be more important and stuff. So selfishly, myself, whenever I'm on a project, about every sort of fortnight. So let's assume it's a sort of 6-9 month project. Every sort of 4 to 5 weeks, I'm rummaging around the teams. I'm trying to find that one sexy bit of news that we can re-message back into the business that, here's a milestone, or we've just done this and stuff. And quite often that's seen as, well, we work on the project, we'll have that out. But I think it's really important to keep people remembering that the project is happening, remembering why we're doing it, show some of those quick wins, those key things that are happening, to create something happening in the business that people are talking about it. Because I think the worst thing to do is go quiet, assuming that everyone is sat there going, I can't wait for this new piece of tech or whatever to come out. No one cares. No one cares. They're off doing their day job. So unless you're out there shouting about it, unless you're out there telling people, here we go, this is what we're working on, people just completely forget your project. And that is that kind of that slog piece where people just aren't excited about anymore. I mean, what do you do? Do you do anything similar to keep project excitement alive?
Yeah, I mean, for me, and I do this in my personal life as well, it's just constantly reminding yourself of your why. And for me, that tends to get you through the boring bits and the actual work that goes into it, because everyone loves the brainstorm. Everyone loves writing down goals and talking about goals, but you really have to just keep reminding yourself of, the end result. And like you say as well, rewarding yourself for the little wins. Just keep reminding people of why you're doing it and how it's going to make their life easier in the long run, because everyone wants that.
Yeah, so we've detoured there. So even detouring even further, looking ahead, an innovation buzzword. Well, what's the real thing? Oh, what's this? Innovation is a buzzword. What's the real thing you're excited about in the next 12 months? Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's start again. Okay. So we talk there. So we talk about innovation, but it's just a buzzword. What's the real thing you're most excited about in the next 12 months?
I'm going to sound really unoriginal, but AI.
AI.
And I don't know whether I'm excited or scared, but obviously it's changed so much in the past 12 months of what it can do, what jobs it could take on. I don't think it's going to replace jobs, but I think it is going to create new ones. Um, if I look back to when I was younger, my job wasn't even really a thing. Obviously,
Yeah.
marketing was a
Yeah.
thing. Not, half the jobs within marketing didn't even exist when I was in school and college or whatever. So I'm looking forward to seeing what kind of jobs get created and how this goes over the next couple of years. And then also LinkedIn, I love LinkedIn. I'm excited to see more people posting, more original posts as well. I think we're getting in. I know I said a lot of posts are starting to look the same, but I think there's a lot more variation of content on there now that more CEOs and directors are posting. I think there's more to read about, which is really interesting. So I'm looking forward to seeing all the, leadership teams starting to build their brands and everyone else too. But yeah, and then of course, like social media, like what platform's going to be next? Because TikTok came a few years ago and now everyone's addicted to it, including myself. So I'm wondering if there's going to be another TikTok.
I still haven't really got TikTok. I'm not sure I know. I'm not sure I know what it is. I think that's definitely something. I'm going to take that
So
away. I am
yeah,
going to
that's what it is.
download TikTok and I'm going to come back and I'm going to maybe it's dancing. Am I going to do a dance? Is that what it
It's
is?
not, no, I mean, when
No.
it used to be a dancing app, people are
Yeah.
gone there, and now I see all sorts on there, to be honest. But your FYP page definitely
Yeah.
knows you very well when you're scrolling through. But yeah, it's not the greatest platform to have, to be honest. If you don't already have it, I'd recommend you don't have it because
Okay.
it's
Okay.
extremely addicting. You
Sorry,
can sit there
TikTok.
for hours scrolling on it.
Okay. I mean, yeah, I'm trying to stop doom scrolling at the best of times.
Yeah, don't add TikTok to it as well.
I don't need that. I really don't need that. Yeah. No. So how, I guess we asked this question earlier, but I think we should just dip in again. How do we stand out when everything is AI generated? I was reading a thing today and I don't even know if it's true because what isn't anymore, but Will Smith doing a tour or something and, he's posted out, great tour, and the crowds are all AI generated. And I don't think he did it to necessarily say, I've got thousands of people, but maybe just so it looks great online or whatever. And I think there were some people with 3 arms, the classic AI tropes of not people looking at it. How do you stay how do you stay relevant, and how do you stand out when everything is AI generated, and probably most people don't even know that it's AI generated?
Yeah. Wow. Funnily enough, I had this discussion with a client a couple of months ago. She said to me, she said, it's really hard to stand out with
Mm,
all the AI generated content. And she's an architect as well. So she meant in the architectural
yeah,
space too, but also on LinkedIn.
yeah,
And your USP has really got to be you.
yeah,
And I know a lot of people say that, but AI can bring up facts and it can write you a post on a certain
mm,
subject and give you all the information that you need. What it doesn't do, it doesn't know who you are. It doesn't know what your stories are. Everyone says storytelling wins on social media. It really does, not just LinkedIn, on social media in general. The only thing that's going to make you different are your individual stories, written in your tone of voice. You know,
yeah.
it, yeah. So that's the only way you can do it, really. I'm not telling people not to use ChatGPT, but I think using it in the right way is important. If you're going to use it to write post, please edit. Please don't use it to write your comments. Please.
Don't use it to. That's the takeaway. Is that one of the takeaways? Don't use it to write your comments. I think.
It takes 2 minutes to write a comment. We do not need ChatGPT to be writing our comments. Use our brains. Come on, people.
I guess if you think about it, I mean, imagine meeting someone in real life and them saying something, and then you saying, "Hold on a minute, I'm just going to type into my phone. Yeah, no, that's really nice jacket you've got on there. Rocket emoji, or whatever it happens to be. We just
It's
don't. And
also, have you seen the comments where they basically summarize everything you've said in the post and then ask you a question at the end?
I have I
What are you
have
creating work for me?
I have someone who comments on a fair amount of my posts, and yeah, I'm sure they are actually a robot. I'm sure they are. It's yeah, there you go. Someone can go back and have a look at those and
If
see if
they
they can
watch this,
get
I hope it stops.
who that person is. It's not you, don't worry.
I know.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, so I think that's it, and I certainly use AI for administration. I think
Mhm.
create me a format of how I might say this, and give me some sort of show notes, and give me some tips, and a good format. I think
Yeah.
there, but as soon as soon as I started being a bit odd, a bit Matt, a bit me, my posts and everything got so much more engagement, because people go, okay, that's Matt. That's not just
Yeah.
this, and that's it. And I know you sort of told me off a few times as well in the early days for just posting some AI drivel online. So I have started to see people using AI headshots and different things. I think they're getting better, but they still have that sort of almost plasticky sort of look to them.
Too.
And I see it. I don't know if other people do, but
People see a lot more than what people think they see.
I think so. And I guess a lot of people just scroll past it and don't think. But I guess what so I guess anecdotally, I was with my daughter the other day on a family holiday, and we were just talking, and this one guy who worked in a shop said, "Oh, I'm working on this new brand and stuff." It was really interesting. So okay, that's fab. And then showed a video of them working on some bags, these sort of leather bags and things, going to be the next big thing. My daughter, who's 13, she was very polite. We walked out, and I didn't think anything of it. And then she sort of tapped me on the arm and said, "Did you notice that was AI?" And it wasn't until she mentioned it, and then of course there's this guy in a small little shop with this massive sort of factory, and it's all drilling and stuff. And I was like, yeah, of course it was AI. I didn't even think about it. So I think a lot of people see stuff and just scroll and don't think. It's not until sometimes you ask the
Yeah.
question, or the younger generation who are used to seeing AI all the time. Like, I don't think my parents would notice that that's AI, but clearly when someone's just used to seeing it all the time. So I guess that's one of the takeaways as well. Sort of
Yeah.
people do see it, and people might not necessarily comment, might not know it, but the more you use it, the more it will
Yeah.
come up. Yeah. So AI is not going to replace our jobs, is what you're saying. We're okay for a few weeks.
I mean, well, I watched a podcast that was saying if we keep using AI the way we're using it, everyone's going to end up with dementia because no one's using their brain. So that's good to know as well.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what a jolly way. If we can bring some more fun before we do. Okay, so if you could give someone a tip for taking their first steps into online marketing, what would it be? What would you say to Jamie starting today?
I would say, going back to our previous question where we talked about being cringer, I would say I heard this girl talk about this on TikTok a while ago. Her name's
Yeah.
Courtney Johnson. She's
Okay.
absolutely brilliant. Follow her. But she posts on LinkedIn and she posts on TikTok. And a video she posted a year or two ago stuck with me. And it said, she talked about something called the cringe mountain. Have you ever heard of it?
But no, but I absolutely love it, and I'm going to be finding out about this because I think sometimes I live in a cringe mountain. So what's cringe mountain?
So, to build a brand or achieve a goal, you've got to put yourself out there in some way, and it's going to be cringer.
Yeah.
So, you've got the cringe mountain, right? No one who's climbed the cringe mountain, these people down here,
Okay.
none of these people are going to be the ones that are judging you. And
Yes.
if they even are, because a lot of people are too focused on what they're doing themselves that day to even notice what you're doing anyway. But if anyone's going to be judging you, it's going to be the people that are on this end of the mountain that would never
Yes.
even attempt to climb the mountain because they're too scared. That people on the other side of the mountain that are no longer cast as cringy, but they're at the bottom of their mountain on the other side, they're never going to judge anyone for climbing over the cringe mountain.
I
How's that?
love cringe mountain. Yeah, I think that's I mean, amazing. I'm going to learn. And what was the lady's name?
Courtney Johnson.
Courtney Johnson. We'll put something in the show notes, and I will definitely follow that. Absolutely 100%. I noticed myself is a few years back, not that long ago, really been sort of doing all of this, but maybe I guess about 3 years ago, just sort of sat there and thought, let's give it a go. Once I started putting stuff out, really, did I ever get, I think more, I got people going, I can't believe you do that. That's so good. Like I wouldn't be able
Yeah.
to do it, blah, blah. And then I would say to them, well, just chuck a post out, just do it and see what happens. And some people didn't, but some people did. And I see them posting now. And I even get actual comments now saying, oh, that's really helpful, Matt. Like, imagine that. Imagine actually offering some value to the world on the socials that isn't just about me going, everybody listen to me. I mean, I do love that. That's what I want everyone to do. But actually putting stuff out there and people going, yeah, that's really useful advice. Thanks very much. And that's not cringe, right? That's not cringe. Helping people is not cringy.
No.
With that said, let's do buzzword bingo. And what's the one phrase that makes you laugh or cringe? And I think it's going to be a cringe one from everything that we've discussed today. That you see everywhere. That you see. What's the one phrase?
So my cringe game changer.
Game changer.
Add into that with the little rocket emoji at the end.
Game changer rocket emoji. Game changer rocket emoji. Absolutely. Love that one. Yeah, that's probably one of the worst ones. One of the worst. I will make sure I would post game changer rocket emoji.
I never want to see that in your content.
Just want to vomit, and just never go. Yeah. Okay. And then just a little bit of fun. If transformation projects were a sport, what sport would they be?
Oh, that's a hard one. It depends on what project it is. If it's a boring project.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Because you don't like golf, right?
Yeah, it's boring. Yeah. If it's a chaotic one, maybe rugby.
Okay.
Or like
black eyes. You black eyes, but
yeah.
challenging sport. Yeah,
Someone, sprains their shoulder or whatever,
yeah,
but
okay,
everyone's
okay.
smiling at the end and drinking beer.
What about if it's a beautiful project that goes exactly as it is? What sport's that? Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know what it is about swimming, but swimming seems beautiful and very calm, and, I feel like maybe swimming.
Swimming,
Yeah.
swimming. Okay, okay, good one, good one. Yeah, I mean, I don't do a lot of sport, so what would I say? Maybe tennis, back and forth, back and forth.
Oh,
It's
yeah,
like
tennis is quite a good one. Tennis is a good one. Maybe weightlifting as well because, it takes a good few years to see the results, but if you keep going in there and putting in the reps, then in a
we are,
few years, you're gonna look a hell of a lot different.
we're smashing this. We're smashing this. I think this might push us up the top 10 of sport podcasts on here. I think this is really going to rival some of the big guys.
It's
Thank you,
definitely
Jamie.
gonna rival the golf guys.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. Thanks, Jamie. This kind of end of all the questions and different things that we've got. It's always great to talk to you. We talk all of the time anyway, so it's always quite strange doing this now and looking across to you. And for some reason, it always feels very different than it does when we just have a chit chat. But we made it through, and I think it was really interesting. There's some real good takeaways from there. So thank you as always. And I'd like to say, I wouldn't be doing this today if you hadn't have said, I had thought about a podcast. What about that? And then I was like, oh, I thought about a podcast. What should we do? And then we kind of did it. So it's right and it's proper that you're here helping me navigate the world of the internet. So for anyone who doesn't know who you are or what you do you want to just give a bit of an overview of you, how people can find you, etc.
Yeah, so, I suppose keeping it nice, short and sweet, I started freelancing about 4 or 5 years ago. Actually, Matt here encouraged me to get into it, encouraged me to start posting on LinkedIn and building a personal brand, writing blogs and whatnot. So I started freelancing a good few years ago now, and then decided to start freelancing full time at the back end of 2023, I think it was. And then I started the business the following April. So the business is over a year old now, which is really exciting. But yeah, I provide marketing management services to small to medium sized businesses, and I also provide copywriting services, LinkedIn ghostwriting, LinkedIn company page management services too. If people want to find me, they can find me on LinkedIn or they can visit my website. But most people find me on LinkedIn, to be honest.
Yeah, and I think you've got a newsletter as well.
I do have a newsletter, yeah. So I've got a newsletter called Making LinkedIn Work for You, and it's just full of free information and tips if you're looking to build a personal brand on LinkedIn. So if you want to go and subscribe to that, that'd be great.
Yeah.
I think we've got nearly 2K subscribers now, which is really exciting because I just started it.
Incredible.
I think it was beginning of summer this year. But that's really exciting. It's nice to know that it's helping people as well, because I have had messages saying
I
that
see.
they've either found me through the newsletter or that it's really helpful and it's helped
Yeah.
them. But yeah.
Excellent. No, thank you. Well, great. Look, so thanks very much. I will put all of the links, show notes, everything for everyone to find you and some of the things we've referenced today. So yeah, thanks very much, Jamie.
Thank
See
you.
you on the next. Yeah. No, thank you. Yeah, it's always great. So yeah, lovely. See you all soon. Bye bye.
Bye.